Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
And welcome to HitScan. We have a pretty big patch. Honestly, Miska, I was expecting something, like a chill week, but this is possibly one of the most impactful patches that we have ever had because it goes after things that people have been complaining about since closed beta, it feels like, Miska. Main one being the operator.
Yeah, oh boy, there's been so many updates and a lot of dev comments in here too. So we're not going to be going through every single bit of every dev comment. We'll be giving you just a rundown of the changes and, our thoughts and such. So should we get into the operator changes just straight away? Because they're pretty juicy.
There's a lot of them. To go over that, there's a big comment, I'll show it on the screen briefly, from Max Arcane, Grosmond, talking about the operator changes. There's some key things in there to mention, but the main thing is the price has been increased from 4,500 to 5,000 credits. The decreased scope movement speed has been reduced from 76 to 72%. The adjusted weapon dead zone for becoming inaccurate is 15% movement speed, so you become inaccurate sooner as you're moving, so you can't just stop and fire. The fire rate reduction has come in to be 0.75 to 0.6. The equip time is a little bit longer, and the leg shot damage has been decreased just a little bit. But Miska, this is like a lot of changes, and like I mentioned before, a big comment post talking about why the operator was hit as hard as this.
Yes, we'll get into the specifics of the changes in just a second, but I do want to just say before that they're looking for more changes to different agent abilities that help push operators off of angles as well. Now, these changes might seem like really big changes to operators, but I think that, such as the breach changes with the flashes, is really gonna change the situation even further. Those are not done yet though, so they'll be coming later on. Anyway, now with the price upped all the way to 5k and all of these adjustments made, it might feel a lot better, but I think the big part about this is really that you won't really know this until you've played with the operator for quite a while after this. Yes, the price change is obviously huge and that might prevent some more, double or even triple operator in ranked, which can be pretty frustrating, but I think it's still one of those situations where these changes are so small individually that you have to really feel them out. It's not one of those things where it's just gonna instantly feel really bad or just no change at all. You're gonna obviously feel it, especially with something like the equip time change. Like, that's definitely gonna be impactful. 0.3 to 0.5, that's quite a big change, honestly. You will for sure notice it. But I think there's some that you might just miss some shots that you really shouldn't have hit before, and that's not necessarily where I feel like the problems with the operator were at. So hopefully these smaller changes across the board and then the big price increase is enough. But I think a lot of it is also going to come down to, does any of this give more opportunity for an ability to be used against an operator? Things like that. Morello's talked about it loads in the past, and I mean, yeah, Max kind of covers everything in this big long comment. So rather than repeating all of that, you can check that out in the patch notes directly.
The general TLDR on it is it's too strong to re-peak with an operator, so that's why they've changed a lot of the movement-related stuff, and you should get punished more. And also, people were able to buy an operator in armor as early as the 3rd round, which I think is kind of interesting in itself. I feel, as much as I don't really like the operator, I feel that this is a little bit too much. There is also briefly changes to jump headshotting people. In short, it should be a lot less frequent. I've seen that a lot in the pro scene and it seems really tilting. Haven't experienced it myself, but I think that this is a bit too much with the operator, nerfing it, especially when the agent that pairs up with the operator, Mr. Jett, was also hit. Probably not in the area that people were hoping for, I don't think. Or maybe not, I don't know. Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, I have to say I'm pretty surprised about the Jett changes. I don't know about you, but I was not expecting this area to be the one that they were attacking in particular. But either way, we've got Blade Storm, Burst Fire in particular. So this is the ultimate Burst Fire that has been changed. The time between consecutive Burst Fire use has increased from 0.33 seconds to 0.45 seconds. Daggers thrown in burst now have a damage falloff that begins at 12 meters and drops steadily to 35 damage at max falloff. So it is quite a big change already there, but you also have the headshot multiplier on burst fire has been reduced from 3x to 2x. So this just makes it a bit harder to just spam the burst fire for multiple kills, that sort of thing. I wouldn't say that happens all the time, but obviously it makes it a bit easier if you just have a little bit of a spread. unless you're me, of course, and all the knives just go straight past the head hitbox. But yeah, I feel like it's an interesting change to see. Really not what I expected, though. I don't know about you.
I think a lot of people were hoping, like, a nerf idea for Jett was to only have her be able to tailwind to dash in the direction that she's facing, because she was too good at, holding an aggressive angle with an operator and then side dashing or backwards dashing to get away, and that felt a little bit too powerful. I know a lot of people complain about the potency, I suppose, of the right click of Blade Storm, so I wouldn't say it's like completely out of left field, but like I sort of said before, I saw Jett and Operator in the patch notes to be nerfed, and it's like, oh, I wonder what this is going to be. I feel that the Operator itself was hit too hard individually, Jett not so much, but we'll have to wait and see. I know her name has been wanted to be on the nerf list for quite some time, but another agent that's a duelist that was on here that I felt maybe people weren't asking for too much was Reyna, and this is a pretty hefty nerf when it comes to her ultimate Empress. Her fire rate bonus has been decreased from 25% to 15%. The dev comments say that the previous fire rate, we felt that Empress was way too effective when using heavies and SMGs, and too fast to master the change in spray pattern on rifles, so we hope this change allows us to address both issues at once, giving a chance to have a unified fire rate increase the players can learn and master to pair it up with the stim beacon. So straightforward change for Empress and Reyna. I wouldn't say it was too damning, I guess it would be, but they do mention Brimstone's stim pack below, and that also got a change, Miska.
Yeah, I remember in the past someone calculated the stim beacon change very early on, maybe even in beta or alpha, that it was about like 8 to 10%, and that always felt kind of bad. So I'm interested in seeing what this does. 10% going all the way up to 15% now, matching Empress like the previous comment mentioned. So that fire rate bonus from the stim beacon being increased like that, I feel like it makes sense, because the ability felt kind of worthless before. But I just don't know if it's something that people will still feel like is a super useful ability. But hey, at least it now is somewhat useful, and it actually feels worth even pressing the button to use the thing. But yeah, the comment reads, paired with Reyna's change above, we felt Brimstone Stim could use a little more punch. This also unifies our 2 fire rate increase buffs, making them easier to learn. And I really like that thing about learning the different fire rate buffs like that. I think that's super important, and something that otherwise can feel a little bit random or chaotic. Now it's for sure something that you can play around much more, especially with the Vandal fire rate increase, and now you have this sort of thing on top. The fire rate increase stuff will become, well, a little bit more, not necessarily common or potent, but at least you can be more, well, you can sort of plan ahead with it and plan to use that to your advantage in some way. So it's cool, but I'm not a fan of Stim Beacon still, and I played Brimstone for quite a long time.
You've also started playing Omen as well, and Omen's in the patch notes too, and when I saw Omen and Brimstone here, I was expected to see like an Omen nerf and maybe a Brimstone buff, because it feels that Omen is so much better than Brimstone at that role now. Omen got a change to Paranoia. It's not too much, to be honest. It's basically a vision change to the projectile, so you can see it much better when it's traveling towards you. Should be some gameplay on screen from the Korean videos that come out to show some of these changes off. So it should be just more level of consistency. They are keeping an eye on the power level of Paranoia. I do think it's the best flash in the game currently, so I'd like to see maybe more bringing Omen down just a little bit and Brimstone up, because I don't feel that they combat against each other. But there is another controller that often gets ignored. It's become a meme on how much they've been buffed recently. There's another one being added to it, and
oh my god,
it's a nice one though.
Yeah, I just really like seeing them going all out like this, and they're like, okay, we buffed this character like 5 times in a row. He's still like at the bottom. So yeah, Viper now starts the round at 100 fuel, previous to 50, but the Snakebite vulnerable debuff applied from Snakebite now lingers for 2 seconds after leaving Viper's acid. I think that's a great change. Really, like, I was really happy to read that, because I feel like when they made that change in other areas, it does really change the way you have to play around it. You can't just go for one of those, I'm just gonna dash past there, or just, you know, do a weird jump past this little angle so they don't get me. Now you have to actually think about that, because you won't just be able to do that weird jump, you'll also be debuffed for sure by Snakebite this time, which, great, love that. Viper's Pit as well, move speed doubled while casting. Really looking forward to seeing that in game, because that's gonna look really funny. Viper now fast equips her weapon after casting. Re-equip times vary per gun, but on average will reduce her weapon downtime by 0.4 seconds. Really cool change as well, and I think with Viper's Pit, this is one of those ultimates that when you use it like that, it can be, well, I almost feel a little bit awkward how much time you gotta spend away from just having your gun out, but all in all, it's not gonna be necessarily the deciding change that just, you know, launches Viper to the top of the win rate charts, but all of these things combined, I feel like it's a really good start, especially that fuel change. But yeah, genuinely, I do feel like the Snakebite debuff lasting for the full 2 seconds after you just get hit by it a little bit is my favorite change in there. But yeah, good stuff.
I feel like this is going to sort of put her at a level where, yeah, people will underestimate her, but I don't think it'll be too long until, like, say, a pro player or a streamer really shows, like, the impact of it, and then suddenly everybody changes their tune. So I don't think Viper's too far off from where she needs to be. I think that's what the devs say as well. But that's pretty much it for the changes. There's stuff to do as well with making sure that people aren't queuing for an hour plus when wanting to play ranked, as well as some social updates and bug fixes, which, to be honest, it's probably better to watch the patch notes, as this video with these changes is already looking a little bit long. But it's understandable why. The operator got hit hard in multiple areas. Really need to get my hands on it. Maybe we'll do that a little bit later on, Miska, to sort of test out some of these changes and what they look like.
I want to see Viper just Naruto running in with her ultimate, because that's all that I have in mind when reading these patch notes. I want to see that change in action.
It's so exciting. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll be sure to keep you up to date if anything else changes, but until next time, take care. We'll see you then.
Bye-bye.